in a world more comfortable, more connected, and more advanced than any before it. Why are so many people still unhappy? We live in the age of abundance. Our homes are warmer, our food is richer, our lives are longer than any generation before us. Yet anxiety, loneliness, and emptiness have quietly become the epidemic of modern life. We can talk to anyone, anywhere, in an instant, and still feel profoundly alone. We can summon answers to any question in seconds, but still struggle with the simplest one. Am I truly happy? This is the paradox of happiness, that the more we chase it, the further it seems to drift away. We search for it in success, in love, in possessions, in status, believing that the next goal, the next achievement, the next purchase will finally bring peace. But time and again, we return to the same quiet feeling. Something is still missing. What if happiness isn't something to be found, but something to be understood? What if the problem isn't that we can't reach happiness, but that we've been looking in the wrong places all along? In this journey, we'll explore what modern psychology, ancient philosophy, and neuroscience reveal about the nature of happiness, and why, despite our progress, we continue to struggle to find it. From the brain's chemical mysteries to the cultural illusions that shape our desires, this is a story of the human pursuit of joy and the quiet art of fulfillment. Welcome to Mind Atlas. Expand your mind. Explore everything. Happiness begins in the brain. Beneath every smile, every laugh, every spark of excitement, a complex dance of chemicals takes place, the unseen orchestra of the mind. These are the neurotransmitters, the microscopic messengers that shape every emotion we feel. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. Together, they form what scientists sometimes call the quartet of happiness. Dopamine is the chemical of pursuit, the thrill of anticipation when we chase a goal, the satisfaction of progress, the excitement of almost there. It rewards us not for having achieved something, but for moving toward it. It is the fuel of motivation. Serotonin is the chemical of pride and status. When we feel respected, valued, or part of something larger, serotonin floods our brain with quiet contentment. It whispers you belong. Oxytocin is the chemistry of love and connection, released when we hug, trust, or simply share a genuine moment with someone. It binds parents to children, friends to friends, and strangers through compassion. And endorphins, nature's painkillers. They rise when we exercise, laugh, or cry. They dull physical and emotional pain, reminding us that joy can follow struggle. These four together paint the biological landscape of happiness. Yet here lies the secret few recognize. None of them were designed to keep us happy for long. Over millions of years, the human brain evolved not for lasting bliss, but for survival. Our ancestors needed reward signals that encouraged action, to hunt, to gather, to connect, to protect. A permanent state of contentment would have been dangerous. A happy, complacent hunter doesn't search for food. A perfectly satisfied tribe stops exploring new lands. So nature built in a safeguard, pleasure that fades. When you achieve a goal, dopamine spikes, then quickly drops. The joy of a new success dissolves, replaced by the urge for the next one. It's biology's way of keeping us moving forward. The same is true for serotonin and oxytocin. The warmth of praise, the comfort of love, both fade with time, urging us to seek connection again and again. It's a never-ending cycle of desire, reward, and renewal. A system meant to ensure survival, not sustained happiness. And in today's world, this ancient wiring meets modern abundance. Each notification, each like, each new purchase triggers the same dopamine circuits that once drove our ancestors to chase real prey. But unlike a hunter's satisfaction, digital rewards never truly end. We can scroll for hours, chasing microbursts of dopamine that never quite fill the void. Modern life, in many ways, has hacked the brain's reward system, giving us endless stimulation but little fulfillment. The result? We are chemically rewarded for chasing happiness rather than experiencing it. Yet within this biology lies hope. Because understanding how happiness works gives us power over it. By spacing out our rewards, by slowing down, by choosing experiences that nourish connection and purpose rather than instant pleasure, we can work with our biology instead of being trapped by it. Exercise, meaningful conversation, time in nature, gratitude, all of these release the same neurochemicals, but in a balanced, sustainable rhythm. We can't change the brain we were born with, but we can learn its language. Happiness is not the constant activation of these chemicals. It is the art of harmony, of letting the music play softly instead of endlessly chasing the next note. And that is why pleasure fades so fast, not as a punishment, but as an invitation to keep growing, to keep exploring. It's biology's way of saying, you are alive. Keep moving. Imagine running on a treadmill that never stops. No matter how fast you run, you stay in the same place. That is the hedonic treadmill, the cycle of chasing happiness, only to end up exactly where we started. Psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell first described this idea in 1971. They noticed something strange. Whether life brought incredible fortune or terrible tragedy, people's long-term happiness eventually returned to a familiar baseline. Their research compared two groups, lottery winners and accident survivors. You might expect one group to be permanently ecstatic and the other forever broken. But months later, both groups reported surprisingly similar levels of happiness. The human mind, it turns out, is astonishingly adaptable. We adjust to new realities, both good and bad, faster than we think. You get a promotion, excitement surges. A few weeks later, it feels normal. You buy a new car, joy, pride, admiration. A month later, it's just transportation. Even love, that first rush of passion and discovery, stabilizes as routine returns. Each time we reach a new height, our brain quietly resets the standard. What once thrilled us becomes ordinary. This is the trap of the hedonic treadmill. As our circumstances improve, our expectations rise to match them. We move the finish line forward, so contentment always remains just out of reach. We live in an age that accelerates this treadmill. Social media shows us endless highlights of other people's lives, their victories, their travels, their happiness. We compare our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and the treadmill speeds up. Psychologists call this social comparison, and it fuels dissatisfaction. Because as soon as we achieve something, there's always someone doing it slightly better. The mind whispers, maybe just one more step, one more achievement, one more upgrade. But the treadmill never stops. This adaptation mechanism once had evolutionary value. It kept our ancestors alert, never satisfied for long, always striving to improve, to secure more food, better shelter, safer tribes. But in the modern world, that survival instinct often becomes a source of suffering. We no longer chase survival, we chase stimulation. A new device, a higher income, more recognition. Each one feels like the key to happiness. Yet when we get it, the joy fades quickly and the craving begins again. We confuse comfort with fulfillment and progress with peace. The hedonic treadmill explains why happiness can feel so fragile, even when life is objectively good. But understanding this treadmill also reveals a path forward. Psychologists have found ways to slow the treadmill, not by rejecting pleasure, but by changing how we relate to it. Practices like gratitude, mindfulness, and purposeful living allow us to appreciate experiences without immediately chasing the next one. Gratitude, for example, reminds the brain to pause, to notice what's already good, instead of focusing on what's missing. Mindfulness helps us stay present in the moment, breaking the loop of endless comparison. And finding purpose, a sense of meaning beyond ourselves, shifts our happiness from what we get to who we become. Because when happiness depends on external change, we are prisoners of circumstance. But when it grows from internal understanding, happiness becomes freedom. The hedonic treadmill teaches us that life's highs will always fade, but that doesn't mean happiness disappears. It simply changes form. Instead of chasing joy, we can cultivate it slowly, deliberately, through appreciation, balance, and meaning. Happiness isn't found by running faster. It's found by stepping off the treadmill and learning to walk calmly, consciously, gratefully through the life we already have. Modern culture tells us a simple story. Happiness equals success. Money, fame, beauty, these are portrayed as the ultimate goals. Advertisements scream it from every screen. Social media whispers it in every feed, and films romanticize it on every stage. Yet despite this constant messaging, global studies tell a different story. Once basic needs are met, food, shelter, safety, health, additional wealth contributes very little to lasting happiness. In other words, money can solve problems, but it cannot guarantee fulfillment. The advertising industry has cleverly packaged this truth into a myth. Happiness is a product. Buy this car, feel freedom. Wear this perfume, feel desired. Own this home, feel complete. And we fall for it again and again, believing that the next purchase, the next upgrade, the next experience will finally bring the elusive joy we seek. But happiness is not something we consume. It cannot be found in a shopping cart, in lights on a screen, or in the accumulation of status symbols. True happiness is something we create, something cultivated within the mind and heart. Ancient philosophies understood this long before modern marketing existed. Stoicism, born in ancient Greece, taught that external events are beyond our control, that real peace comes from mastering our own reactions, desires, and expectations. The Stoics reminded us that chasing wealth or fame is like trying to grasp water with open hands. The more we reach, the more it slips away. Across the globe, Buddhism teaches a similar truth. Attachment to fleeting pleasure leads to suffering. Enlightenment is found not in acquiring more, but in understanding the nature of desire and in finding balance and contentment within ourselves. These philosophies converge on a single insight. The mind often deceives us, whispering that happiness lies in the world outside. And yet, when we turn inward, when we learn to observe our thoughts without being controlled by them, a quiet, lasting joy emerges. Happiness, then, is not a destination marked by possessions, achievements, or recognition. It is a state of being, nurtured through wisdom, balance, and mindful living. In a culture obsessed with external success, these ancient lessons are revolutionary. They remind us, the next purchase, the next promotion, the next applause, none of them will fill the emptiness we feel inside. But understanding the mind's illusions and practicing self-awareness, gratitude, and balance can shift our perspective. Slowly, subtly, the treadmill of desire begins to slow. In the digital age, comparison has become constant. Platforms that were built to connect us often do the opposite. They magnify insecurity, envy, and self-doubt. Every scroll, every swipe, every like becomes a micro comparison. Am I as successful as them? Am I as attractive, as wealthy, as happy? Our brains, evolved for survival in small communities, interpret these comparisons as threats. Social standing, once determined by tribe or village, is now quantified by likes, followers, and comments. And the consequences are profound. Research consistently links heavy social media use to anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction. Why? Because we rarely compare our lives to reality. We compare them to carefully curated highlight reels, snapshots of joy, success, and perfection. Imagine watching someone else's life condensed into a flawless montage, exotic vacations, glowing selfies, career victories. Meanwhile, our own lives, messy, uncertain, ordinary, seem to pale in comparison. The brain registers these comparisons as social threats. Cortisol, the stress hormone, rises. Dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that normally create pleasure, are suppressed. The result? A cycle of longing and inadequacy. Scroll, compare, feel less, and repeat. Social media taps directly into our deepest vulnerabilities, the desire to belong, to be admired, to be recognized. And it rewards attention, not reflection. Every like, every share, every comment acts as a mini dopamine spike. But unlike a real accomplishment, these spikes are fleeting, and the next notification arrives almost instantly, demanding more of our attention. Psychologists call this social comparison bias, the tendency to measure our worth against others. In the offline world, this bias evolved to maintain social cohesion. In the online world, it fuels chronic dissatisfaction. But there is hope. Awareness is the first step. Mindful consumption, digital boundaries, and perspective can help break the cycle. Practicing gratitude for our own experiences, celebrating small achievements without external validation, and limiting passive scrolling can restore balance. By recognizing that social media often presents a curated illusion, we reclaim control over our happiness. Happiness is not a competition. It is not measured in likes or followers, but in authentic moments of connection, presence, and fulfillment. In a world saturated with digital comparison, understanding how social media affects the mind is essential. Only then can we step off the cycle of envy and find contentment within ourselves. Happiness is not merely the pursuit of pleasure. It emerges from cultivating the ability to notice, appreciate, and fully embrace what we already have. This is the essence of gratitude. Neuroscience shows that gratitude is more than politeness. It actively reshapes the brain. MRI studies reveal that regular gratitude practice increases activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, a region linked to long-term happiness, empathy, and resilience. Gratitude trains the mind to focus on abundance over scarcity and on presence over desire. Acknowledging even the smallest gifts, a kind word, a warm meal, a sunrise, reshapes our mental landscape, allowing joy to flow more naturally. Alongside gratitude, mindfulness plays a crucial role in emotional well-being. It is the art of fully attending to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness changes how we experience emotions. Instead of being swept away, we learn to observe them as temporary events, not permanent truths. Anxiety about the future, regret over the past, or fleeting dissatisfaction in the present are all temporary. Mindfulness allows us to witness them without attachment. Over time, mindfulness reduces over-identification with negative thoughts, strengthens emotional regulation, and cultivates inner calm. The goal is not to eliminate unhappiness, but to become aware of it, to notice it, acknowledge it, and avoid being controlled by it. Buddhist psychology captures this insight. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Pain occurs naturally. Suffering is a choice. Suffering arises when we resist, cling, or over-identify with discomfort. Mindfulness teaches us to see it as a passing wave, not a permanent storm. Gratitude and mindfulness complement each other. Gratitude cultivates appreciation, while mindfulness creates space to witness reality without judgment. Together, they reshape perception and response, rewiring neural pathways to favor resilience, contentment, and lasting joy. Scientific studies confirm the benefits. Regular gratitude practice improves life satisfaction, reduces stress, and strengthens social bonds. Mindfulness-based practices lower anxiety and depression, enhance emotional awareness, and foster compassion, providing practical tools for daily life. Happiness is not found in wealth, achievements, or status alone. True fulfillment comes from deeper, enduring sources that nurture our mind, body, and spirit. One of the longest studies in human history, the Harvard study of adult development, followed over 700 men for more than 75 years, tracking their lives, health, and happiness. The results were both surprising and profoundly simple, revealing insights that challenge conventional ideas about success and well-being. The clearest predictor of long-term happiness was not money, fame, or career success. It was the quality of relationships that shaped a fulfilling life. Human beings are wired for connection. Our brains, hearts, and bodies depend on it. Close relationships reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and build resilience. Isolation, on the other hand, amplifies cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases the risk of depression, illness, and even premature aging. The brain responds chemically to connection. Oxytocin, the love hormone, rises during trust, closeness, and compassion. Serotonin surges when we feel valued and respected. Together, these chemicals foster calm, joy, and a deep sense of belonging, creating the biological foundation for happiness. Yet, modern life often works against these natural wiring patterns. Screens separate us while promising connection. Social metrics replace genuine human interaction. Video calls substitute for shared meals, and notifications compete with face-to-face attention. We are more connected digitally, yet often more isolated emotionally. To be truly happy, we must rebuild community, not by counting followers or friends, but by cultivating moments of genuine presence. Research shows that even small acts of connection, a meaningful conversation, shared meal, or sincere compliment, can significantly boost well-being. It is not the quantity of relationships that matters, but their quality, depth, and authenticity. Meaningful bonds are the true currency of happiness. Loneliness, the absence of meaningful connection, is one of the greatest threats to happiness in modern society, yet it remains one of the most preventable. True connection requires time, attention, and vulnerability. It is built in moments that cannot be posted, liked, or shared online. Happiness is not a solitary pursuit. It is woven through the connections we nurture, the communities we build, and the moments of genuine human presence we allow ourselves to experience. Psychologist Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Purpose is the lens through which we interpret life, giving context to struggles and direction to joys. Pleasure without meaning may feel satisfying in the moment, a fleeting escape, a temporary high. Yet it is shallow, like a wave that rises and fades quickly. Meaning without happiness can feel like duty or obligation, heavy, enduring, and sometimes draining. True fulfillment blends both, experiencing joy through purpose and discovering purpose through joyful engagement. Purpose provides resilience, allowing us to navigate adversity and endure hardship, even in harsh conditions. Frankel's insight came from unimaginable suffering. A meaningful why enabled survival and even growth. Purpose turns pain into a teacher and struggle into an opportunity for personal development. Purpose is not always grand. It exists in small acts, caring for others, creating, mentoring, or showing kindness. Studies show that individuals with clear purpose enjoy higher life satisfaction, better mental health, and longer lifespans. Purpose aligns our actions with values, creating coherence and meaning that pleasure alone cannot provide. Ask not, how can I be happy? Instead, ask, what can I give? What contribution makes life meaningful? The pursuit of meaning transforms life into a coherent narrative where challenges become opportunities and joys reflect our deepest values. Happiness without purpose is empty. Purpose without joy is heavy. True fulfillment emerges when both converge, finding joy in purpose and purpose in joy. Much of our unhappiness stems from living outside the present moment. Regret resides in the past, replaying what ifs and if onlys endlessly in the mind. Anxiety inhabits the future, pulling us toward worry about what might go wrong. Yet the present is the only space where life truly unfolds. Happiness exists only now. Our minds are natural time travelers, constantly replaying events and predicting outcomes. This mental movement can be exhausting, leaving little room to experience the richness of the moment. There is, however, a state of consciousness that bypasses this restless mind, flow. Flow arises when we are fully immersed, deeply engaged, and completely present in an activity. Time seems to dissolve, self-consciousness fades, challenge and skill converge, creating effortless absorption. Athletes call it being in the zone. Artists lose themselves in creation. Musicians let music flow through them. In these moments, joy emerges naturally. There is no comparison, longing, or anxiety, just full presence. Mindfulness and meditation teach the same principle. Focus on the breath, sensation, or action, reducing mental clutter. Neuroscience confirms this. Mindfulness alters brain regions tied to self-referential thought, lowering rumination. The more we practice presence, the richer ordinary moments become. Walking, sharing, observing, or simply being. Flow and presence show that happiness isn't an accumulation, escaping the past, or anticipating the future. It exists in engaged living, noticing, experiencing, and appreciating each moment as it unfolds. Life in the 21st century is unprecedented, far beyond what our ancestors experienced. The world is faster, louder, and more complex than ever before. We face new obstacles to happiness: information overload, economic pressures, environmental anxiety, and the illusion of perfection projected through media. Psychologists call a modern challenge attention fragmentation. Our focus is divided across emails, notifications, deadlines, and countless microtasks. Each interruption pulls us from the present. Minds stretched thin, leave little space to fully engage with any single experience. Yet happiness requires attention. Joy, fulfillment, and contentment do not appear automatically. They emerge when we linger in an experience, fully immersed, without distraction. Modern life makes this difficult. Constant stimuli compete for our awareness, leaving little room for reflection or presence. Attention is the currency of happiness. Wasted on distractions, we forfeit moments that generate true joy. The solution is not retreat, but designing environments that nurture calm and focus, directing our attention consciously. Simple strategies help. Set digital boundaries, schedule uninterrupted time, and create spaces that reduce chaos. Even small changes, a quiet corner, a phone-free walk, or a mindful pause, can preserve attention and restore presence. Environmental design matters. Calm spaces, natural light, greenery, and uncluttered surroundings allow the mind to rest and focus. Conversely, cluttered desks, constant alerts, and crowded urban environments fracture attention and heighten stress. Understanding these challenges is essential. Happiness is a practice shaped by how we manage attention, our environment, and engagement with life. Information, technology, and modern pressures are not enemies of happiness. Without awareness and deliberate choice, however, they can erode it. Protecting attention is protecting happiness. By cultivating calm, focus, and presence, we create conditions for fulfillment to arise naturally. Perhaps happiness is not a destination or a fixed point to reach, but a skill, an art that requires practice and attention to master. Like any art, it is learned through patience, focus, and repetition. True mastery emerges in small, quiet moments, not only in grand achievements. Happiness is cultivated in gratitude, noticing and appreciating what we have rather than longing for what we lack. It is strengthened in connection, nurturing relationships that bring meaning, joy, and a sense of belonging. It is grounded in purpose, discovering the why that gives life's challenges context and direction. It is renewed in presence, living fully in each moment, embracing the richness of life as it unfolds. To struggle with happiness is to be human. Doubt, disappointment, and uncertainty are natural parts of the journey. Yet within that struggle lies growth, the rediscovery of what matters, the refinement of priorities, and the deepening of appreciation. Life will always contain storms. Loss, failure, pain, and uncertainty are inevitable. Happiness does not require escaping these storms. It emerges when we learn to move with life, not resist it, and find joy amidst imperfection. Happiness is a practice of awareness, is the choice to pause, breathe, and notice the fleeting wonders around us. It is found in sunlight on the skin, laughter shared with friends, satisfaction in work well done, and small acts of kindness that ripple through life. Life itself is the canvas, and we are both the artist and the observer, shaping our experience with attention, presence, and care. Each day offers the opportunity to choose awareness over distraction, presence over worry, and meaningful connection over isolation. Happiness is not something we acquire or wait for. It is created in the space between moments, in engagement, presence, and love shared with others. So pause, breathe, look around. Remember, happiness is not found in avoiding life's storms, but in learning to dance in the rain. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the psychology of happiness. We hope this exploration has provided fresh insights into the mind, emotions, and the pursuit of a fulfilled life. If you found value in this documentary, subscribe to Mind Atlas to continue exploring.